Tonight's featured story are Letters from Father Christmas by JRR Tolkien. Tolkien wrote these stories for his family for 23 years, spanning from 1920 to 1943. He expanded these stories beyond the traditional Santa and included an elf assistant and a polar bear who likes to help out from time to time. You might see him in our selections tonight. These are read by the fantastic, entertaining Cyrus Williams. Enjoy.
Letters from Father Christmas by JRR Tolkien. Christmas House, North Pole. Dear boys, I heard you ask Daddy what I was like and where I lived. I have drawn me and my house for you. Take care of the picture. I'm just off now for Oxford with my bundle of toys, some for you. Hope I shall arrive in time. The snow is very thick at the North Pole tonight. Your loving Father Christmas.
So once, when I was 9 years old, I was in love with Chris Partridge from the Partridge Family. The second Chris, you know, the cute one. And he played the drums, so I asked Santa for a drum set. Christmas morning, very, very early, my brother wakes me up and says, guess what? You got your drum set. I was so excited. We snuck downstairs. We had to reach past those 2 steps that squeak. Went all the way downstairs, no drum set. And my brother said, oh yeah, it's in the basement. We usually set up a tree in the basement too. So we snuck downstairs. I looked around the corner, no drum set. I was okay. We went to church. We went to my grandparents' house and my brother whispered, that's where they've hidden your drum set. Okay, not in the house, but out in the stables. He told me, look in that one. And I see a huge pile covered in straw. He said, dig for it. And I did, and I dug through straw, covering a bunch of salt licks. There was no drum set. To this day, no drum set, and my brother's a sorry. I probably can't say.
Cliff House, top of the world, near the North Pole. Dear boys, I'm dreadfully busy this year. It makes my hand more shaky than ever when I think of it, and not very rich. In fact, awful things have been happening, and some of the presents have got spoiled, and I haven't got the North Polar Bear to help me, and I have had to move house just before Christmas, so you can imagine what a state everything is in. And you will see why I've a new address, and why I can only write one letter between you both. It all happened like this. One very windy day last November, my hood blew off and went and stuck on the top of the North Pole. I told him not to, but the North Polar Bear climbed up to the thin top to get it down, and he did. The pole broke in the middle and fell on the roof of my house, and the North Polar Bear fell through the hole it made into the dining room with my hood over his nose, and all the snow fell off the roof into the house and melted and put all the fires out, and ran down into the cellars where I was collecting this year's presents, and the polar bear's leg got broken. He is well again now, but I was so cross with him that he says he will try not to help me again. I expect his temper is hurt and will be mended by next Christmas. I will send you a picture of the accident and of my new house on the cliffs above the North Pole with beautiful cellars. If John can't read my old shaky writing, 1,925 years old, he must get his father to. When is Michael going to learn to read and write his own letters to me? Lots of love to you both and Christopher, whose name is rather like mine. That's all. Goodbye, Father Christmas.
P.S. Father Christmas was in a great hurry. Told me to put in one of his magic wishing crackers. As you pull, wish, and see if it doesn't come true. Excuse thick writing. I have a fat paw. I help Father Christmas with his packing. I live with him. I am the great polar bear.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. You're a heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You have termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. When given the choice between the two of you, I choose the seasick crocodile. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. The three words that I've used to best describe you are as follows, and I quote, stink, stank, stunk. You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful sods. Your heart's a dead tomato splotched with moldy purple spots, Mr. Grinch. Your soul is an appalling dump heap overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish imaginable, mangled up in tangled up knots. You nauseate me, Mr. Grinch, with a nauseous super nos. You're a crooked, dirty jockey, and you drive a crooked hoss, Mr. Grinch. You're a three-decker sauerkraut toadstool sandwich with arsenic sauce.
Cliff House, top of the world, near the North Pole. My dear boys, I am more shaky than usual this year. The North Polar Bear's fault. It was the biggest bang in the world and the most monstrous firework there ever has been. It turned the North Pole black and shook all the stars out of place, broke the moon into four, and the man in it fell into my back garden. He ate quite a lot of my Christmas chocolates before he said he felt better and climbed back to mend it and get the stars tidy. Then I found out the reindeer had broken loose. They were running all over the country, breaking reins and ropes and tossing presents up in the air. They were all packed up to start with, you see. Yes, it only happened this morning. It was a sleigh full of chocolate things, which I always send to England early. I hope yours are not badly damaged. But isn't the North Polar Bear silly? And he isn't a bit sorry. Of course he did it. You remember I had to move last year because of him? The tap for turning on the Aurora Borealis fireworks is still in the cellar of my old house. The North Polar Bear knew he must never touch it. I only let it off on special days like Christmas. He says he thought it was cut off since we moved. Anyway, he was nosing around the ruins this morning soon after breakfast. He hides things to eat there and turned on all the northern lights for 2 years in one go. You have never heard or seen anything like it. I've tried to draw a picture of it, but I am too shaky to do it properly. You can't paint fizzing light, can you? I think the polar bear has spoiled the picture rather. Of course, he can't draw with those great fat paws. By going and putting a bit of his own about me chasing the reindeer and him laughing. He did laugh too. So did I when I saw him drawing a reindeer and inking his nice white paws.
Father Christmas had to hurry away and leave me to finish. He is old and gets worried when funny things happen. You would have laughed too. I think it is good of me laughing. It was a lovely firework. The reindeer will run quick to England this year. They are still frightened. I must go and help pack. I don't know what Father Christmas would do without me. He always forgets what a lot of packing I do for him. The snowman is addressing our envelopes this year. He is Father Christmas's gardener, but we don't get much but snowdrops and frost ferns to grow here. He always writes in white and just with his finger. A Merry Christmas to you from the North Polar Bear, and love from Father Christmas to you all.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland.
Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird, who sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he's Parson Brown.
He'll say, "Are you married?" We'll say, "No, man, but you can do the job when you're in town."
Later on, we'll conspire
As we dream by the fire,
to face unafraid the plans that we made.
walking in a winter wonderland. Later on, we'll conspire
As we dream by the fire,
to face unafraid
the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland.
walking in a winter,
Walking in a winter.
walking in a winter,
Walking in a winter.
walking
In a winter wonderland.
Top of the world, North Pole. Dear boys, and girl too, it is a light Christmas again, and I am glad to say the Northern Lights have been specially good. There is a lot to tell you. You have heard that the great polar bear chopped his paw when he was cutting Christmas trees. His right one, not his left. Of course, it was wrong to cut it, and a pity too, for he spent a lot of the summer learning to write better so as to help me with my winter letters. We had a bonfire this year to please the polar bear, to celebrate the coming in of winter. The snow elves let off all the rockets together, which surprised us both. I've tried to draw you a picture of it, but really there are hundreds of rockets. You can't see the elves at all against the snow background. The bonfire made a hole in the ice and woke up the great seal, who happened to be underneath. The polar bear let off 20,000 silver sparklers afterwards. Used up all my stock, so that is why I had none to send you. Then he went off for a holiday to North Norway and stayed with a woodcutter named Olaf and came back with paw all bandaged just at the beginning of our busy times. There seems more children than ever in England, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Germany, which are the countries I especially look after, and of course, North America and Germany. Not to speak of getting stuff down to the South Pole for children who expect to be looked after, though they have gone to live in New Zealand, or Austria, or South Africa, or China. It's a good thing clocks don't tell the same time all over the world, or I would never get round. Although when my magic is strongest, at Christmas, I can do almost 1,000 stockings a minute if I have it all planned out beforehand. You can hardly guess the enormous piles of lists I make out. I seldom get them mixed. But I am rather worried this year. In my office and packing room, the polar bear reads out names while I copy them down. We had awful gales here, worse than you did, tearing clouds of snow into a million tatters, screaming like demons, burying my house almost to the roofs. Just at the worst, the polar bear said it was stuffy and opened a north window before I could stop him. You can guess the result. The North Polar Bear was buried in papers and lists, but that did not stop him laughing. Also, all my red and green ink was upset, as well as black. So I'm writing in chalk and pencil. I have some black ink left, and the polar bear is using it to address parcels. I liked all your letters, very much indeed, my dears. Nobody or very few writes so much or so nicely to me. I'm especially pleased with Christopher's card and his letters, and with his learning to write, so I'm sending him a fountain pen and also a special picture for myself. It shows me crossing the sea on the upper north wind while a southwest gale, reindeer hate, raising big waves below. This must be all for now. I send you all my love. One more stocking to fill this year. I hope you will like your new house and the things I bring you. Your old Father Christmas.
Michelle Silverstein. They told me once, and I didn't believe. You won't see him coming. You won't see him leave. So I'll tell you once, and you better believe. Don't look up the chimney on Christmas Eve.
Top of the world, not finished until Christmas Eve, 24th December. My dears, I have enjoyed all your letters. I'm dreadfully sorry there has been no time to answer them, and even now, I have not time to finish my picture for you properly, or to send you a full letter like I mean to. I hope you will like your stockings this year. I tried to find what you asked for, but the stores have been in rather a muddle. You see, the polar bear has been ill. He had whooping cough first of all. I could not let him help with the packing and sorting, which begins in November, because it would be simply awful if any of my children caught polar whooping cough and barked like bears on Boxing Day. So I had to do everything myself in preparations. Of course, Polar Bear had done his best. He cleaned up and mended my sleigh and looked after the reindeer while I was busy. This is how the really bad accident happened. Early this month, we had a most awful snowstorm, nearly 6 feet of snow, followed by an awful fog. The poor polar bear went out to the reindeer stables and got lost and nearly buried. I did not miss him or go look for him for a long while. His chest had not gotten well from whooping cough, so this made him frightfully ill, and he was in bed until 3 days ago. Everything had gone wrong, and there had been no one to look after my messengers properly. Aren't you glad the polar bear is better? We had a party of snowboys, the sons of snowmen, which are only sort of people that live near. Not, of course, men made of snow, though my gardener, who is the oldest of all the snowmen, sometimes draws a picture of a made snowman instead of writing his name. And polar cubs, the polar bear's nephews. It's on Saturday, as soon as he felt well enough. He didn't eat much tea, but when the big cracker went off after, he threw away his rug and leapt in the air and has been well ever since. I've drawn you pictures of everything that happened. Polar bear telling a story after all the tea things had been cleared away, me finding polar bear in the snow, and polar bear sitting with his feet in hot mustard and water to stop him shivering. It didn't, and he sneezes so terribly he blew 5 candles out. Still, he is all right now. I know because he has been at his tricks again, quarreling with the snowman, my gardener, and pushing him through the roof of his snow house and packing lumps of ice instead of presents in naughty children's parcels. That might be a good idea, only he never told me, and some of them, with ice, were put in warm storerooms and melted all over good children's presents. Well, my dears, there's lots more I should like to say about my green brother and my father, old grandfather Hugh, and why we were both called Nicholas after the saint, whose day is December 6th, who used to give secret presents, sometimes throwing purses of money through the window. But I must hurry away. I am late already, and I'm afraid you may not get this in time. Kisses to you all. Father Nicholas Christmas. P.S. Chris has no need to be frightened of me.
Snowball by Shel Silverstein. I made myself a snowball, as perfect as it could be. I thought I'd keep it as a pet and let it sleep with me. I made it some pajamas, a pillow for its head. But last night it ran away, but first it wet the bed.
Cliff House, North Pole. My dear girl, a very happy Christmas. I suppose you will be hanging up your stocking just once more. I hope so, for I have still a few things for you. After this, I shall have to say goodbye. More or less, I mean, I shall not forget you. We always keep the old numbers of our old friends and their letters, and later on, we hope to come back when they are grown up and have houses of their own and children. My messengers tell me that people call it grim this year. I think they mean miserable. And so it is, I fear, in very many places where I was especially fond of going. But I am very glad to hear that you are still not really miserable. Don't be. I am still very much alive and shall come back again soon, as merry as ever. There has been no damage in my country, and though my stocks are running rather low, I hope soon to put that right. Polar bear, too tired to write himself, so he says, but he sends a special message to me. Love and a hug. He says, do ask if you still have a bear named Silly Billy, or something like that. Or is he worn out? Give my love to the others, John and Michael and Christopher, and of course, to all your pets that you used to tell me about. Polar bear and all the cubs are very well. They have really been very good this year, and have hardly had time to get into any mischief. I hope you will find most of the things that you wanted, and I am very sorry that I have no cat's tongues left. But I have sent nearly all the books you asked for. I hope your stocking will seem full. Very much love from your old friend.